Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Swerve, and today we're diving into the morally murky world of Breaking Bad. We all love a good anti-hero, but was Walter White really as complex as we thought? Or was he just a straight-up bad guy? Let's break it down. Part 1. The Transformation. We all remember the timid chemistry teacher turned meth kingpin, right? Walter White started as a sympathetic character, just trying to provide for his family. But as the seasons rolled on, we witnessed a transformation that would make Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde proud. When we were first introduced to Walter White, he was the embodiment of the everyday man, a high school chemistry teacher with a family to support, facing financial struggles and a cancer diagnosis. It was hard not to sympathize with his predicament. Walt's descent into the world of meth production wasn't an impulsive decision. It was a result of mounting pressures and a feeling of being cornered by life's circumstances. The turning point was when he learned about his terminal illness. Suddenly, the ticking clock became the catalyst for his transformation. As Walt ventured into the meth business with Jesse Pinkman, there was a palpable shift in his demeanor. The timid chemistry teacher was replaced by a man with newfound confidence and control. The chemistry lab became his kingdom, and the blue meth, his legacy. As the blue meth gained notoriety, so did Walt's ego. The more success he found in the drug trade, the more his ego inflated. It wasn't just about providing for his family anymore. It was about proving a point to the world that had overlooked him for so long. Walt's lies to his wife, Skylar, started small but quickly snowballed into a web of deception. The justifications for his actions became more convoluted, and the line between what he was doing for his family and what he was doing for himself began to blur. The birth of the alias Heisenberg marked the full transformation. No longer just a man trying to survive, Walt became a calculated and ruthless figure. Heisenberg wasn't just a persona, it was a manifestation of Walt's darkest instincts. The turning point wasn't just about meth production anymore. It was about dominance, control, and the thrill of being someone feared. The scene with Tuco, where Walt throws the fulminated mercury on the floor, is a prime example. He wasn't just protecting himself, he was asserting his newfound power. The juxtaposition of Walter White and Heisenberg became more apparent as the series progressed. Part 2. Breaking Bad Decisions. Before Tuco's office went up in flames, Walt had already ventured into the dangerous world of meth production. The desperation to secure his family's financial future had led him to make questionable decisions. However, the explosion marked a significant escalation. Walt's decision to blow up Tuco's office wasn't a hasty, desperate act. It was a calculated move, showcasing a level of strategic thinking that went beyond a man fighting for survival. The meticulous planning and execution hinted at a newfound confidence and a willingness to play the game on his terms. The aftermath of the explosion saw Walt adopting the alias Heisenberg more openly. He wasn't just a chemistry teacher trying to make ends meet anymore. He was a force to be reckoned with. The act of destroying Tuco's office became a symbol of Heisenberg's emergence, a ruthless figure unafraid to use violence to establish dominance. The explosion didn't just affect Tuco. It sent shockwaves through Walt's personal life and the lives of those around him. Jesse, in particular, found himself entangled in an increasingly dangerous world. Skylar, Walt's wife, began to sense the shift, and the consequences of Walt's actions started seeping into every facet of his life. Walt's confrontation with Tuco showcased a different side of him. It wasn't merely a struggle for survival, it was a power play. The explosion served as a declaration of intent, a statement that Walt was no longer willing to be a pawn in someone else's game. He had become a player, and he was willing to use extreme measures to control his destiny. As Walt walked away from the fiery wreckage of Tuco's office, there was a sense of triumph in his stride. The explosion wasn't just about eliminating a threat. It was about asserting authority. Walt had crossed a line, and there was no turning back. the taste of victory fueled his growing appetite for power. The explosion at Tuco's office became a harbinger of things to come. Walt's actions, initially driven by desperation, now carried a heavy toll. The lust for power would lead to choices with far-reaching consequences, setting the stage for a moral descent that would define the rest of the series. Part 3. The Jane Incident. Let's talk about Jane. Walt's lack of intervention in her overdose indirectly led to her death. It's a pivotal moment that shows Walt's moral decline. He was no longer just a victim of circumstance. He was making choices that cost lives. Jane Margolis entered the series as Jesse Pinkman's love interest and fellow recovering addict. Initially, it seemed like a positive influence on Jesse's life, providing a sense of stability and emotional support. Unfortunately, the cracks in Jane's sobriety started to show. Her relapse into drug use, particularly heroin, marked a turning point not only for her character, but also for the broader narrative. This relapse set the stage for a tragedy that would have profound implications. His choice to withhold help, despite having the capability to save her, was a stark departure from his earlier persona as a family man who prioritized life and decency. Jane's death had a profound impact, not only on Jesse, but also on Walt's moral standing. The consequences of Walt's silence reverberated through the series, contributing to Jesse's emotional turmoil and guilt. It was a pivotal moment that illustrated how Walt's actions were no longer just about survival. They were about wielding power and making choices that had irreversible consequences. The incident with Jane became a precedent for the escalating moral compromises that defined Walt's character. Part 4. Manipulation Game. Walt wasn't just cooking meth, he was cooking up schemes. He played everyone around him like a puppet master. One of the most shocking and morally reprehensible moves in Walt's playbook was the poisoning of Brock Cantillo. Using the ricin-laced cigarette, Walt manipulated events to make it seem like Gus Fring was behind the poisoning. Walt's manipulation of Jesse Pinkman went beyond the typical mentor-protege dynamic. He preyed on Jesse's vulnerabilities, exploiting his loyalty and emotions. Whether it was the emotional manipulation surrounding Jane's death or the calculated moves to keep Jesse under his control, Walt's manipulation of Jesse became a recurring theme, highlighting his lack of moral restraint. Walt's schemes extended to everyone in his orbit. From manipulating Skylar into laundering money to orchestrating elaborate plans against his enemies, Walt became a puppet master, pulling the strings with ruthless precision. The intricate web of lies and deceit showcased a man driven not just by necessity, but by a hunger for power and control. The poisoning of Brock sparked intense debates among fans, forcing them to confront the moral ambiguity of Walt's character. It was a turning point that challenged viewers to reevaluate their allegiance to a character who had crossed a line that many deemed unforgivable. While Walt often justified his actions as necessary for survival or protecting his family, the poisoning of Brock showcased a disconnect between his justifications and reality. The weight of his morally bankrupt decisions began to weigh on his conscience, but the allure of power and control kept him on the path of moral decay. Part 5. The Gustavo Fring Rivalry. Walt's rivalry with Gustavo Fring elevated the stakes in Breaking Bad. It wasn't merely a clash of personalities, it was a battle for control and dominance in the lucrative world of methamphetamine production. Fring's composed and calculated demeanor clashed with Walt's increasing hunger for power. The explosion at the nursing home marked a watershed moment in Walt's quest to use Hector Salamanca. Faced with the formidable threat of Gus Fring, Walt orchestrated a plan that not only eliminated his rival, but did so in a manner that showcased a level of cunning and ruthlessness that shocked even those accustomed to Walt's descent into darkness. The nursing home explosion wasn't just about removing an obstacle in Walt's path. It was the calculated removal of a powerful adversary. Walt's decision illustrated the extent to which he was willing to go to protect his empire and secure his position at the top of the drug trade. Gus Fring's demise at the hands of Walt marked a symbolic turning point. Walt had not only eliminated a rival, but had also demonstrated that he was willing to go to any lengths to protect what he considered rightfully his. The fallout from this act reverberated through the remainder of the series. While Walt's actions may have solidified his position in the drug trade, they came at a considerable cost. The relationships that were once central to his life, such as those with Jesse, Skylar, and even Hank, became casualties of his insatiable thirst for power. Part 6, Ozymandias. The title of the episode says it all. Walt's empire crumbled, and the consequences of his actions finally caught up with him. The death of Hank and the emotional toll on his family. It was a wake-up call for viewers who might have still sympathized with him. In Ozymandias, Walt's empire finally crumbled. The title itself, a reference to a fallen empire, foreshadowed the devastating consequences of Walt's actions. Part 7, The Legacy. As we bid farewell to Breaking Bad, it's essential to reflect on Walt's legacy. Sure, he may have left his family with a financial windfall, but at what cost? Lives were shattered, relationships destroyed, all in the pursuit of a toxic legacy. In the finale of Breaking Bad, dubbed Felina, Walt successfully leaves behind a financial windfall for his family. However, the question that lingers is, at what cost was this wealth amassed? The collateral damage of his actions extended far beyond the drug trade. The term toxic legacy encapsulates the consequences of Walt's decisions. The cost of Walt's legacy wasn't just measured in dollars. It was measured in the relationships that were irreparably damaged. His marriage with Skylar, the bond with Jesse, and the trust of those who once believed in him were all casualties of his destructive path. As viewers bid farewell to Breaking Bad, there's a bittersweet realization that Walt's legacy is a complex tapestry of triumphs and tragedies. The financial windfall for his family is juxtaposed against the profound human cost of his choices, leaving a lingering sense of moral ambiguity. From the humble beginnings of a chemistry teacher to the orchestrator of a drug empire, Walt's path took a dark turn, challenging our perceptions of morality. Now, the million-dollar question: was Walter White a tragic figure, a victim of circumstances that spiraled out of control? Or was he simply a bad person who made choices that led to his own downfall? There you have it, folks. Walter White, a character who embarked on a journey with seemingly good intentions, only to find himself entangled in the shadows of his own making. It's a debate that has fueled countless discussions among fans. What's your take on it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective. And before we wrap up, don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this deep dive into Breaking Bad. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe for more analyses and explorations of your favorite shows. Your support means the world, and it keeps the conversation going. This is Swerve, signing off. As we navigate the complex landscapes of these fictional worlds, let's continue to stay curious, question the characters we love, and explore the depths of storytelling. Until next time, take care, stay curious, and keep those discussions alive.